I gotta tell you, the post on this for me was incredibly, it was a real challenge because it's literally you're trying to take your 5-6 month schedule and extend it to an 8-month schedule by just working more overtime. And you just have to have that face on you that's like, it's gonna get done. My editor told me, it was so daunting, Roger said, Michael, you're not gonna give this movie away, they're gonna take it away. That's exactly what happened.
Around, but you gotta be in the classified access list.
I am now. Presidential order, Major. I got a message for your classified space buddies. You guys made a mess.
All right, so this is where we communicate with the JCS.
Just on a action level with, just the military and weapons and vehicles, that alone makes it a huge movie. But you add in all of these robots, and that's a whole nother level of sound design that goes beyond the traditional. And the fun thing about it is we can just imagine what it might sound like. And if it feels right, then it sticks.
Ethan Van der Rijn, Mike Hopkins, they are gurus at sound, and what I love about them is they use original sounds. They create their own sounds. A lot of these teams get lazy and they just use stock stuff. These guys have millions and millions of sounds that they've created for these 2 movies.
The sounds you hear should reflect their characters. So if it's a bad guy, sound-wise, you should instantly be able to tell that's a bad guy. And then within the bad guys, Megatron, he's more sort of sharp blade kind of evil sounds. The Fallen, we've played more organic, like he's got actual organic material, so more sort of crunching sinew and tendons, and his armor is wet. And then the Autobots, the good guys, Optimus is based on air and air movements. Bumblebee is based on buzzes and buzzing sounds, and we experiment trying to come up with sounds for these characters. In the beginning, not knowing at all what we're going to wind up with. For Bumblebee, we did a bunch of recordings with beehives, getting buzzing sounds, and we caught a little fly in a cup and got him buzzing around and make motors out of that. And as the film goes on, it evolves and we try other things, and we stop trying new things when we have to ship it, which is tomorrow. So it's been an evolution.
One of the sound effects editors, Eric, literally he's got millions of sounds, and we ask for certain sounds, and he just goes on his box. He's the guy that should get all the money, let me tell you, because he knows where all those sounds are hidden.
You can see here's all of our robot material for this reel of the movie. Then over here we have our hard effects, which in this scene, with all the robots, we kind of have some blank material here. There's not as much, but... Essentially, we have 23 pre-dubs, and one pre-dub is a 5.1 surround sound mix of a certain food group of sounds. So some of those will be vehicles, some of those will be explosions, some of those will be guns, and then we have a group of pre-dubs that are completely devoted to robots. The reason we keep those food groups separate is so we've got control. So in a scene like this, we'll want to play up the big hits more than the motors, because that's what gives the big power for the scene.
Next.
539.
539.
Channels 5 through 19.
5 through 19.
Yeah, man.
Wow. A pre-dub could have anywhere from 10 to 30 tracks, for a pre-dub. On the final mix, I'm dealing with 256 faders. It's multi-layered, so basically what you're seeing is this is one console. I hit this button and it's a whole other console. I hit another button and it's another console. So it's basically 4 of what you see.
You'll hear here the way we've sort of created the sounds is we're making rhythms. And somehow subconsciously it feels more real too. When your mind hears a rhythm, it feels natural. So we spend a lot of time getting things to line up just right and create a ka-thung or a bum-bum-bum. If we were to go and cut every little detail you'd see, it would be a wall of noise. It would just be mud. But the animators kind of design it so your eye goes to a certain thing, and we try to pick that out and highlight that. Let's try this. Give that a shot.
Eric's been cutting new things we see. He's cutting, and we have to, implement that into the mix. And it's what is called my effect sweetener stem is busier than most effect stems in most movies. There's that much material being flown in during the final mix.
Sam, where are you? You're so weak.
Michael does get a kick out of knowing that he drove it as hard as humanly possible. And
Is that the best you can do?
is that the best you can do? Is that as good as it gets? I mean,
And he
come
won't
on.
even ask that just because he doesn't, if he doesn't like something. That's not what it is. It's out of curiosity, like, hey, what else can they do, Is that the best you can do?
So, as you can see, these are rules that I picked up on the signage of Armageddon. No cussing, no horseplay or gum chewing, because I really do hate gum on my rugs, and it's happened here. So, that's why I have cement floors here, as you can see. But I'm going to show you some of the edit rooms. I've got 4 editors here. This is Roger Barton. Roger! Say hello to the video.
Oh, hey guys.
Yeah, this is Roger Barton. Okay,
Hello.
he's a little odd because he dances when he edits. So. This is Glenn. This is Joel here. Good shit, Joel. You guys are gonna lose your hearing. You guys just chill it out a little. We'll talk in a minute, all right? I'm just introducing you on DVD, okay? I know. He's very shy. He doesn't really talk. This is Paul. I mean, it's almost like a joke. It's really too loud, as you can see.
He doesn't come into an edit that hasn't already been built and tell you what to do. That's not Michael's way, I don't think. I mean, he may say, what I want to do with this is this, but he's not one to sit behind you and say, no, I want to go here, and I want to. You got to get things kind of laid out so that Mike can then begin to dig into it with you.
To get the ball rolling, to get the movie at least up on its legs, Tom, myself, and Joel did, most of the work. And most of the work at that time is just done by dividing it up amongst the 3 of us. You take this, I'll take this, you take this.
You put it together, you see how you like it, you see how Roger likes it, you see how Tom likes it, and then you loosely build it. The drama's there, the comedy's there, you're kind of looking for that kind of stuff.
Hey, do not put that in my car. I will pack my own car. Right there? A man packs his own car. That really burns my cork.
This was new on this movie, as I had my little Avid that I took all over the world. It's a tiny little thing on a little Mac. And I can see what I was doing that day, and I can search through selects, because I had the entire movie, all the film, and I was able to send my selects back to LA and was a helpful process to get some of the scenes closer.
He can not only scroll through the dailies that he shot the night before, but he can also look at the cuts that we've created and give editorial notes. He can call us up and we can talk about adjusting visual effect plates so we can get ILM rolling on those shots. The laptop really helped us progress the cut much quicker than we would have had we had to wait for Michael to come to editorial. Once Michael joins the party after he's done shooting, then all bets are off.
Hey, that's the best you got, huh? Well, bring it on.
Michael has a very kinetic shooting and editing style, which has been commented on. I mean, that's a fairly well-known fact. And I would say that stems from his nervous system, and which is also reflected in the workflow.
Michael will not just give us each a slice of the movie, like many other directors who have multiple editors. You'd think that would be sort of the common sense approach. You take the front half, I'll take the back half.
That's also a more secure way of working. You know, you've got your own little area and you stick with it. Michael Bay, he blows up anything that has to do with security. You got to check your ego in at the door. I mean, you might be working on a scene and you might hear him working with another editor on the same scene down the hall.
I may have cut something originally that Michael hadn't really had time with, and he'll sit with Joel and say, okay, that scene, let's look at that. Let me tell you what I do and don't like. And Joel will be doing the refinement on that scene or the next level of cutting on that scene. And in that, we end up overlapping on almost every scene.
Any of these look like the symbols you saw?
Okay, that's better. It's better, but is there a dolly move into it?
There is, into the TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, there is. You come up with different ideas just by working the material. You know, there's a lot of film, and there's a lot to see and a lot to look at it, and with 4 people looking at it, you're going to come up with the best way to cut the sequence together.
You get way more cross-current of creativity at the expense of chaos.
Often he's notorious for saying, you know, the Shia shot, just give me to the Shia shot, the Shia shot is not working for me. And then he'll walk out of the room and I'm thinking to myself, okay, how many Shia shots do we have in this movie? And then I'll go talk to Joel, and Joel will say, oh yeah, no, he was just in here and he scrolled through and talked to me about that Shia shot. So then suddenly I know what he's talking about, and between the two of us, we can work it out.
So what we got 4 editors right now. Trying to get ready for a little screening. I bring editors into my bay. You know, I like to have a bay where I can go through my selects, I can work with an editor, and then that editor goes off, and then I bring in another guy, and we work on that scene for a while, just so you're churning through these scenes. And it's the only way to get through a movie of this size so that you can get the massive pipeline of effects going.
You still having voice problems?
Just playing it up. B, I want to talk to you about the college thing, okay?
When you're working on a robot sequence, there are a lot of challenges. The first challenge being that when you're first putting together the scene, you don't have any robots. You might have a pole with a little golf ball on the top of it so that the actors know where to look. But you don't have the robot's voice, you don't have the robot's expressions. All you can do is try to imagine what's there, and we'll type out little subtitles and put them on the screen to, you know, as a placeholder for what the robot's going to eventually say.
Thank you, Sam, for saving my life. A living prime. It's true.
Skids! Hold on to me!
So generally what we do is we have the voice actors come in, record the dialogue, give basic dialogue to the animators, they feather it in a bit, and then we need the voice actors to come back. Literally several times. It's just like we'll refine more of the voice, then we'll refine more of the animation until you just get it right.
Where am I? What sort of hideous mausoleum is this? Starscream, You left me to die on that pathetic insect planet.
One of my favorite scenes in the movie is a scene that takes place on what we call the Nemesis, which is a spaceship that's crashed on Mars. This is a totally CG environment. There were no plates shot for this. There are no human actors involved. It's the only time, I think, in my career that I've worked on a sequence that is basically an animated sequence from scratch.
The key to saving our race now lies within his mind. Well then, let me strip the very flesh from his body. You will, my apprentice, in time.
The finished sequence, it looks absolutely photoreal. It looks like there are these characters, these actors, in this incredibly detailed and gothic set, but it's all ILM.
This movie is all about spectacle. Michael has taken what he's done on the first movie and he's amped it up to a degree that I think will blow people away.
I am Optimus Prime, and I send this message so that our pasts will be remembered, always. For in those memories, we live on.